And you may be asking yourself the question of why?
Why do this? Will be a question.
Why
yes.
cause you so much work? Well, we've made it to episode 8. Well, I think this is 8. It's a bit difficult to know which number we're on when we're filming all this. Then it has to be edited and then put on YouTube. But we'll go with 8. If it's not 8, the voice above my head in the clouds will say a different number. But it's 8. So, I would come further into the garden. But I actually can't, because we have connected the two loops. We have now a full run-off track all the way around. We have the dog bone loop that we talked about when we designed this railway. It doesn't look much. Granted, it is a temporary bit of board to get connected up, but what it's done is prove that our track work works. And to prove that, we'll show you how it runs. So as you can see, it's really good to be able to run the whole railway now, from the section we'd built down the dale side all the way around the pond. But in order to get to this stage, we had to come up with a bit of an interesting connection over this temporary bridge. So what we've actually done is we've made some gauntlet track. So I didn't really know it was called gauntlet track until we found some online. I knew it sort of existed, but it makes sense. Running the gauntlet, two trains go in both directions, it works, you know, it makes all sense once you know what it means. But how we've done it is we have right here the point blades. So there isn't a frog, but we've got the point blades, and this picks which of these 4 rails you're actually running on. So we've 2 tracks effectively overlapping each other. So if I leave this point running where it's going here, which is sending this guard span onto the gauntlet track, and at this point as we enter the bridge it's running on this rail here and the far rail at that side. So those two are your 32mm track. It goes across the bridge, which is cut so it's removable, and gets to this section here, which to all intents and purposes from a distance looks like a normal point, but all it really is the frog section of the point with no point blades at this end, and we are just taking those sets of rails that are overlapped and separating them out into the 2 standard bits of track that are on the pond loop. So this is a section of track and point work we've made up using Cliff Barker sleepers and chairs, but the rails just Pico rail because we already had some, So we made that up. And we've actually used check rail chairs to make the track at this point, the two rails, which seems to work quite well. You just have to grind them out a little bit, which we haven't done on this section yet, so it's a little bit lumpy.
Yeah, the guards van doesn't show it, but locos rattle over
locos
it.
do. That one's done. I haven't just ground this one yet. But if we follow the guards van on, you'll see it heads off in that direction. So still running at this point on that outside rail and the one closest to you at this side. If we come back to the point blades, switch. We're now on the other two rails. So none of these here are check rails, even though they look like it. And we have in that direction. And you may be asking yourself the question of why?
Why do this? Will be a question.
Why
yes.
cause you so much work in building all this just to do a weird, very long point, as far as I'm concerned? And that's because I didn't really want a point on the bridge. This is going to be a lift-in bridge once this temporary board's replaced. But there wasn't a way of getting around it with how we'd built the line. To be honest, going all the way back to episode 1, 2, 3, we weren't intending on having a bridge, or certainly lift-out bridge, here at that point. We then transitioned and said, yeah, okay, we might have to put a point in it, we might get away with it, we're not quite sure. But we've got to a stage now where, yeah, we definitely do want a lift-out bridge here, because it is easy access into the line. And so I didn't want to have the actual point lever and things on the bridge. So this was a way of getting around it, of moving that whole section onto the wall, but still being able to have the two tracks converge at this point. And the other reason for doing it is because why not?
It is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It boggles the mind when you first look at it, going, well, that's just check rails, but now you're actually using them. And yeah, it's something that I don't think I've seen in anywhere we've been.
No, I don't think I've seen it anywhere.
Just give it a go. And the other reason, actually, for using it, is we can have a narrower bridge, which helps us with the design that I'm thinking of doing. That if we can have a narrower bridge because it's sort of basically one track, we only have to have a slightly wider bit at this end, just for where it heads off. But the bridge itself could be narrower, and that'll help in the lifting mechanism and everything, because it's going to be lighter, just smaller to handle. So that's going to be the next thing to look at, is converting this into a proper lifting bridge. But at the minute, we can remove it. And yes, you have to manually line up the rails, but they do line up, and they do run really quite well, to be fair. It's quite surprising how smooth it is.
It is amazing, yeah.
Over it.
Considering how much it took to make this frog end.
I've never built track before.
This took
was a new experience.
Lot of doing, but it just works.
And we didn't do it to a drawing or anything like that. We did it based off some lines, because we know this was going to be 4 foot.
Off a 4 foot set curve that we have from Wood Valley Works. It was based on that.
Yeah, and we had a bit of a spacing guide, and we had another point next to us to actually reference off to make sure we knew where it was going. But yeah, that's how we put it together. So yeah, that's connected us up. But let's go have a look elsewhere what we've got going on. As we've now got a full line running, we thought it was probably a good time to do a rundown of all the bits we've got to do to actually finish this. Because there's lots of little bits along the way that we need to finish off. Starting with the not the barbecue. No, the railway. That's it. So, at this corner we have a bit of walling to finish off, bit of block walling, infill, etc. But this part is actually all to do with the extension or branch line, not extension because it was originally planned, heading off into the front, which we have some different ideas about the front and bits and pieces, which we'll come on to later, but this might be autumn, but probably more likely next year now.
I think more likely
of when we're going to attempt this, because we have a bit more grander plans for it. So this has been left currently because we're not 100% sure how we're connecting on here. So that's probably going to stay as it is. Pond loop wise, a little bit more gardening to do. We've got this is the filter cover, and this is going to be flipped over and some planting put inside to cover up where the filter is. So you're not going to have this black disc. We've also got more plants to go in, which are on their way. There's a lot of weeding because we've got a lot of things growing already. But then we might see what a few of them are, to be fair.
We have actually got plants in, though.
Yes, there are plants in.
So some of them are planted.
Yes.
Which I think is this would be the first time we're showing that.
Yes.
Yes.
Some plants are in.
Yes.
Whether they're staying there, to be confirmed.
Yeah.
But some plants are in. Yeah, the theory with the planting, let's cover off that,
yes.
is that this loop, pond loop, is the higher end of the hills. So your pond is kind of your lake on the top of the hill, is the idea here. Which is why we are using ferns and heathers, because you're up in the higher lands up the top there. So that's the theory with the planting here. As we go onto the bank, you're into the sort of fields and bits, and then you get to the far loop, you're down a bit further. That's kind of the theory-ish of it. So yeah, planting to do. The tunnel needs its portals putting on, which we are organising, and then there's a little bit of just finishing off in terms of hiding the tunnel, cut edges and the blocks and things like that to do there. Probably a bit of walling or a bit more soil to go in to cover these edges as well. But as you can see, round here we've got the soil in and things, and it's all now starting to blend in. So ballasting obviously will be done at some point, but there's no great rush on that because we'll make sure the track actually runs nicely, there's no issues with it, adjust in places where there is, and then balance once we know that's fully working. Bridge, still haven't finished the bridge. I need to get the sides printed for it that go all the way around, get a bit of ballast in and things like that, but it's in place and running fine.
It's structurally finished,
yes,
it's not
it's just
decoratively
cosmetic
finished. Yes.
Finish on that. The pond edge, and some pond planting as well. There's a bit of filter to go in. The water level's actually down a little bit at the minute because we backwashed the filter and things the other day. But the water level will come up and we'll get some more planting in, so the green edge of the pond will all blend in and you won't see it.
There are an awful lot of plants we need to get, but funds have to allow for plants.
Yes, obviously track and railway and trains and everything else comes first, and plantings secondary.
Yes.
Houses third. So, so yeah, and then if we come to this point right here, I will step over.
But it's not a point.
Not a point. Right, to the gauntlet. So this obviously needs to be an actual lifting bridge, which is probably going to be the next thing to be done, is get this done, because that'll just make ease of access better and mean we can just literally run when we want. We don't have to think about putting this board in. But yeah, that's going to be built, which will make that a lot easier. Again, bit of ballasting down this side and planting on this bank, which is probably mostly going to be heathers. There might be some smaller alpines as well mixed in, but that will cover up that bank. Another tunnel portal on there, and then that should be, and a bit of walling just around the corner to hide the blocks on that side. that should then make that whole area blend in and be finished. And then coming to our Dales section. So we have got some planting in along here. So we have lawn chamomile, we have iris moss, long chamomile again, and all of the moss that we had sat around that was originally in the lawn has now been put on this area. And we've also put in all of the trees, all the trees we've got so far have got in. And if you remember what we've sort of talked about when we've been doing stuff with this, with how this is going to look, is that the trees are all down the sides of the line, up the top as well, because it's always that case of you see the train just going through all the trees. So a few of these will, when they grow, get close to the line, but they'll be cut and give that sort of
one already has
edge.
Got close to the line.
One is already close to the line, so just wants trimming off.
Yes.
We want them to sort of grow round the profile of the loading gauge of the line. Again, there'll be more probably to go in, especially along the back, because we want them to grow up at the back, nice and big, so that you've got a backdrop and you don't see the brick wall of the house as much. Again, ballasting along here, bit of planting down the middle, and we're also wanting to create a sort of halt in the middle and a bit of road up to it as well. So that's what the bits of wood are. Probably going to be a bit of walling.
Can we see your experiment?
My experimental walling.
No, not the walling.
Oh,
the trackway.
Experimental trackway. So I've SBR'd some trackway in, which doesn't look much at the minute, but this middle bit is still soil, so that should in theory green up and leave 2 tracks. So it's a bit of a rough track to go down with the grass down the middle is the idea, and we will see how that develops over time.
I don't think it shows up very well on the camera, but it does look quite good in person.
Yeah, and you can just see a bit of an outline, which again we need to do plenty of weeding down this area of where the roadway is going to go across to that section down here as well. So lots to do in terms of planting. That will develop over time. Down to this bit, obviously the dam, whole top, front and everything needs to be done. We always said that would probably be a later stage anyway. We might cast the top just so we can get the track work on and that gives us a few more sidings, but all the looks of it and everything will be a long-term project. Once we cast the top, obviously we'll get that bridge in as well, so we can actually run across to it, and that will get us more siding space for visiting. And then if I go back this way and round the back, around to this side, we have a bit of walling to finish off here, because we didn't finish this section with our cut, curved, triangular, sliced, whatever we're going to call them, bricks, because we weren't sure exactly where we were coming here, what height we were coming here, because of this tunnel. We are looking at or have ordered a tunnel to go here, and then we'll have to just work out how it all sits in the landscape and everything, and then we'll likely finish off a bit of walling on this section, and however the planting and things will work around it. That's why these plants are all just sat in pots currently, because they aren't actually in their final positions. So that covers off why they're
they're
like
just stored, really.
Yes, they're just stored in the ground, so they're not drying out, and they can just stay there for now, when we can move them about as we test things, and then plant them once we're happy. So that's also why this top plastic just stops here for the minute. It's likely to continue on once we've sorted how the wall's going to be. And then, roadway in there. Again, bit of ballasting and things around here. But actually our planting that we're putting in the middle here is nicely spreading out now, which is nice to see. There's a little bit of finishing off obviously to do on this side as well, but that'll all come as we detail this area here.
There's many ideas for that random bit with the breeze block just there. That's
yes,
there's varying ideas. Yes.
I put it in thinking it would be useful for something. That something, there's a few different versions of it. What that something will eventually become might not even be one of those. It might be something completely different.
Yeah.
But it'd be something.
Ideas in the comments. There you go.
Yeah. Come up with a few different things. And then we'll come to this bank. So we'll come all the way around.
I'm going to have fun putting plant names on this during editing.
Yes.
I will do it. I will do it.
So, to the steam up area. And there might be still some changes with point work. Now we have made our own points. There is a possibility we might make a custom point here. I will see.
True.
Because it wasn't that difficult.
It wasn't, to be fair, once we actually got it laid out. It was just fiddly.
No, it wasn't bad. So we might have a custom point here which will make our lines a little bit better matching with the wall, which would be nice. But I might not get rid of the dog leg in the back, I'm not 100% sure yet, because this offshoot track that we put in might be useful. But we'll see how that goes. Obviously, we will have to ballast, detail, buildings and things, that'll all come in time on this section. The main thing right now is work out where all the tracks go, see if we can fit any sidings in anywhere, and then we can put the detail in around those.
Yes, because we have realised we have a slight lack of sidings.
We do have it, well, yes, but then that's because we knew we weren't going to put too many in these areas, and we're going to have more down there.
Yes.
So they will come in time, and we know there's a few bits where you can actually, although they're not sidings, like these lines, you can steam up on them. You can just run through them as well. The bank, obviously, at this end, needs more soil putting on it, which we've got a bit more of. We'll probably have to get a bit more, but we need to finish the quarry off, which we'll go have a look in a second. But other than that, this end of things, other than a bit more planting and weeding, etc. in these sort of areas, that bit's about done, really.
Yeah, it is, I suppose, yeah.
So as we come around here,
mind the tree.
this end of the bank, not 100% sure what's happening with it. We've moved a few of the stones out of the way that we just temporarily
It doesn't look quite as pretty at the minute because it looks like a stone pile now.
Yes. Yeah, but we'll see what that becomes once we know what we're doing with the bit around this corner.
It might end up as a bit of a rockery style thing.
Yeah, well, the whole idea is that it will be a hillside with a local landmark, Coldstone Cut, that we have to us, that we mentioned way back when, at the top of it, which links in with the quarry.
Whether it'll look quite like Coldstone Cut or not, I don't know. It'll be
probably won't look like Coldstone Cut.
Inspired by Coldstone Cut.
I know the history of Coldstone's Cut longer than you do.
Yes.
Being from the area, and I know that what it originally started out was, so it's basically it's a lookout into an active quarry, and it started out as a bit of a path up a field and a few gabion cages of stone up that you could stand in and look over the edge. And it's become now a huge structure, lookout, fancy thing, amazing feature if you look it up online. It's a brilliant place. But we might be in the middle of that because it inevitably with the quarry they kept making it bigger, so they kept having to move the lookout,
yes.
And every time they made it a little bit better. And I think it's probably on version 4 now in its final state.
It is
but
wonderful.
I remember it moving all the time and
Yes.
getting better and things, so we'll have a version 2.5 probably.
The main problem is
the middle.
that although I'll put a picture on the video, and I'll show what it looks like when you're there, and then what it looks like from above.
Yes.
Because we would be seeing it from above, and it doesn't look quite. It looks quite phallic.
Yes. But again, look it up online. There is a reason it looks like that.
Yes, it's meant to be show fertility and like the fertile womb of the earth.
Yes.
But it doesn't look very much like that.
I don't know. It's more the engineering that's cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, come round here, camera woman. So, we're going to ignore this bit of work for the second because
do we have to?
well, no, we'll come back to it. Because we're going to skip past it, and then it will make sense. So, we have done a bit of work on the quarry, and I'm going to now leap up into the quarry and be a giant roaming around it, so that we can talk about what we're trying to do in this area. So, this is going to be a stone extracting quarry hillside. We still need to cast the bottom base of this, which we've been saying for quite a while now. But
yeah, we keep putting it off.
we keep putting it off.
Quite a big job.
We keep working at that end.
Yeah.
But what we have done is all these stones round this outside now
All the bottom ones, yeah.
cemented in.
Including
So
the massive one behind you.
They've been trimmed and fit around to match each other, so that they're all in and they're relatively level to each other, which then means we can start to do the next level up. So the whole idea here is to create a bit of a working level like you see in quarries. It's going to be far from perfect because obviously we're building with what stone we have left, big chunks from building over there. If we had a massive supply of stone we could probably make it look really, really good, but we're going to get the idea, and then all these holes that you'll see currently will be filled up with bits of stone and things, and it'll all just blend in over time. It's looking about how I imagined it. Once we've got this next level in, and possibly this third level up here, we can then bring the soil up around the back of it, and it'll look like that sort of cut into the hillside idea that we're going for. There is in here a little entrance.
There is a hole.
Which we're going to bring some track out of, as if they have tunnelled in to extract something, which probably isn't that genuine. But around Coldstone Cut area Green, how there was a lot of lead mines and things.
Oh yeah.
That was a big lead mining area, and now it's
Just a
sort
bit.
of changed to stone just down the road. So that's the kind of link we're going for here. Is it might have been a previous shaft, there might still be work in it, but it's just an interesting feature to put a bit of track here. And because we've got a bit of track up here, we thought we probably could link it actually if we head out around this corner right here, because this is a nice area to come out on, and that's where we get to these blocks right here. So I'll take those bricks off because they're just sat on, and that's the idea with this slope that we're sort of building here. Now, this is obviously rough. It's not a running line. So I'm really just placing these in just so that it's not sat on the soil. It won't sink, but it's not got the foundation like the rest of the railway has, because it's mostly scenic. It'll be quite a steep slope. You're only really going to run up it with small battery locos, listers, things like that, especially as it's going to be very tight up this top side. Probably tight down here as well, loading gauge wise. The decision now is just, are we coming into here, shunting back onto this line, going all the way around, something else, not 100% sure. I've mainly run out of blocks, to be honest. I can't go much further. But yeah, bit of more work to do over here, using up what we've got, but it will be a case of using our remaining stone flags to sort of sit to make the side of here, which then protects this line as well from the bank that's up here. And that, I would say, is about everything we need to do on this bit we've already built.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's quite a list.
it's quite a list.
We have spent a lot of the last few weeks just moving soil, so
Yeah, we've done a lot of soil moving.
we've
And-
moved 3.5 tons of soil.
Yep. Yeah, and there's probably a bit more on this bit. But it's sort of getting towards the end of summer now. So
It is,
how
'cause
much
we're
progress
losing the
will
light.
how much progress will happen now? Not 100% sure. So if you don't see any updates from us in a while, don't worry. We will still be working on it. The difference is I might be sat inside planning more places it could go for next year. And Nikki will be inside telling me that no, you can't do that because that's taking up the whole garden, house, land area and will cost a fortune.
Basically, I'm the voice of sanity.
Yes,
Yes.
but we will hopefully be putting some updates out, and we might do some different things over winter in terms of updates. on things not in the garden. Maybe stock, maybe locos. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll come up with ideas again. You know, leave us some
Yeah.
ideas of what you'd actually
And
like
when
to
there's a
see.
good day, we'll be out doing stuff. So we will do updates. Maybe just not as fast.
We haven't completely ruled out doing a live stream either.
No.
We might do that at some point,
And
but we have to find a nice enough consistent weather to
Yeah.
be able to plan that.
Yep. So there you go. That'll do for an update of where we're at.
Yeah.
You are recording?
Yes.
Oh.
That face again. That was quite fun.
So, as we've got... Don't start with say. Don't start with say. What we're going to say here. Right. I think I've got it. Do you want to stop and start again and we'll do take two.